Welcome, everybody, to this protein masterclass. My name is Charlene Fike, and I'm here with my friend Kim Wagner, who's going to be leading us in this class. I've been anticipating and wanting to learn more from simply because protein's everywhere. You're hearing it from everybody. Everybody's talking about protein. You see it in the grocery stores. I was just talking with a friend the other day saying, I have this masterclass that I'm attending, and she's like, I want to come because she's curious about protein. So if you're curious, that's why you're here, and we're super glad that you're here to learn more about the power of protein. So, let me introduce you to Kim. Kim is a registered nurse, but more importantly, she has shifted her career, and she can talk more about that in a minute, to having a very thriving health coaching practice that she helps a lot of women with their health needs. She can tell you a little bit more about her background and how she got there in a minute. But as a personal note, Kim has been married to her husband, and they have two kids, and she's got four grandkids. I know she looks really young, but she's got four grandkids and one on the way. So, Kim, why don't you get going and take it away?
Hey, Charlene, thank you so much. So again, my name is Kim Wagner. I've been a registered nurse for almost 30 years, which how can I be that old, right? But in 2010, I had a little bit of a shift. I had a stage 4 cancer diagnosis, and that really got me just really thinking. I didn't want to stay sick. I wanted to get well. And even as a nurse, helping people, I was an ER nurse, and I found people coming back to the ER for the same problems over and over again. And I wondered, how can we not help these people get well? So I kind of went on my own personal health journey and healing journey. I got some additional education at an integrative nutrition health coaching. And so again, just kind of formulated my own program and really just get to help people get well. In that process, I came across very early on, like within months of that diagnosis, I came into um, uh, a company called Shackley, which I know a lot of you are here because of that. And again, just really was amazing just to help me to learn and to grow and to really open my mind to this more of a natural health approach. So I am excited to share with you today. Um, and what we're going to be talking about today is protein. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Protein is your secret superpower, guys. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about that. The problem. Okay. So most women, especially if you're over 40, are eating too little protein. So many times I have clients come to me and they're like, a lot of those women, really want to lose weight. So what I find is that they're eating less and less and less food, which means they're eating less and less protein, trying to stay small. Um, and so when we don't eat enough protein, what happens is we lose muscle, we get weak and fatigued. It actually slows our metabolism. Our blood sugar crashes. We have constant cravings, and it actually accelerates our aging process because protein is not just about, having strong muscles. It's about our skin, our gut, our longevity, our immune system. Protein makes a difference to all of those things. So again, like I said, muscle is not just for athletes. It's not just about trying to, be lean and fit, but it is our metabolism, our immune system, our gut, our strength, and that bank of our longevity. So here's kind of the magic number. I think one of the most popular questions that I get is, how much protein should I be eating? So it's kind of two parts. It's not just about the total protein when you look at the entire day, how much should I be getting? But it's really, we need to break it down to how much is the ideal number per meal. So the magic number for that per meal is 30 grams of protein. Okay. And why is that? Well, that is because we want to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. And I'm going to talk about that here in the next slide. But just think, to stimulate that process, you need about 30 grams of high quality, nutrient dense protein per meal. Okay. And part of the reason why that is because there's an amino acid called leucine. And when you hit that 2.5 gram threshold of that triggers or flips the switch on to actually do that muscle building. So let's say you're under eating, okay? Again, you're that person trying to stay small. And you know, when I do an intake on clients, one of the things that I want to know is what are you eating, right? And so many times they're like one egg, a piece of toast. Well, let me just tell you what that would be. If you had two eggs, that's going to be 12 grams of protein, and a piece of toast, depending on the toast, you might get another three. Okay. So that we're barely even getting 15 grams of protein at a meal for that breakfast. It doesn't really count. It does not stimulate that protein synthesis. So your body isn't going to store it for later. It's not going to say, okay, she got 12 here and then she had another 10 here and another 5 here and oh, we're at 30, right? It doesn't store it for later. So it's really important to get that quote bolus, in a sense, 30 milligrams of protein at one setting. So remember I said it's to stimulate that protein synthesis. So protein synthesis, so hard to say, is your body's way of building new proteins, which are the building blocks for things like muscle, skin, your hormones, and enzymes. So remember, I said it wasn't just about being strong and having muscles, but it actually affects your skin, wrinkles, aging, your hormone processes, and enzymes. So, in simple terms, think about it like this: your body is using the little Lego bricks, so those amino acids that you get from protein, to build and repair important structures, especially your muscles, which is, kind of like that main thing. But it's based on what your body needs and what you've eaten. So when you eat protein-rich foods, especially ones with enough protein, remember that 2.5 is that trigger, it sends that signal. Once you hit that threshold, it sends and says, okay, we've got these building blocks, we've got enough leucine. Now I'm going to start doing the building and repairing process, because it's not just about getting new muscle, it's about keeping what you have, repairing it. Like if you, do a heavy lifting, or you're in the garden and you're doing lots of squats, you're going to notice potentially you're having some soreness the next day. Well, that's a breaking down of muscle tissue, which then we need to repair and rebuild. It would also be like if you cut yourself and you needed to repair that tissue. All of this happens during protein synthesis, so it's really important. So again, it's important after workouts, during healing, if you've had any injuries, surgeries, etc., or as we age, we want to be able to keep and hold on to that muscle that we have. So muscle is the organ of longevity. You don't lose muscle because you age. You lose it because you stop stimulating it with enough protein and resistance. So it's not just this thing that happens to us. It's because we're choosing, in a sense, to not stimulate it with enough protein and some resistance. And this is a quote from Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. Okay, so why does this matter for women, especially as we age? Okay, and if you're 20 and you're still aging, right? You're still getting older. So this applies to everyone. You need to understand this. Okay, so some hormonal changes happen as we age. Some women will actually go through perimenopause as early as their early 30s. So again, this is everybody, this is important to understand. We can have some lower estrogen and testosterone. Yes, women have testosterone. So again, also think men can go through some of these hormonal changes. So testosterone drop. Also would be the growth hormone that can also be lowered. Um, we can also get increased cortisol. So think about this. So like I have children, I have grandchildren, I have aging mom, right? Like we're in this generation of that we have all the things. Plus I have a career. Like there's all these different ways or reasons for me to be stressed, which can increase cortisol. So when we have those hormonal changes, what naturally can happen is that muscle decline or wasting, muscle wasting, which is the technical or medical term would be sarcopenia. This is going to happen unless we intervene. So it's up to us. Again, I think that's so cool because it gives us a lot of hope that we have a choice. We get to choose. We get to make an impact in our health. So this is where we get to intervene. Um, and you're going to learn how you can do that here in the next couple slides. I'm going to say 3 things that you can do. So our protein needs actually go up not down as we age. And they go up because of these hormonal changes. We are requiring more protein than we did when we were younger. So, again, muscle helps stabilize blood sugar. This is kind of like one of my favorite things to teach people. I absolutely love to teach about blood sugar. When you have muscle, that muscle, those little so let's say you eat something, you release some glucose into your bloodstream. When you have muscle, your muscle says, I'm going to grab that excess sugar and I'm going to put it to good use, right? Whether you're at a resting state or whether you're walking and actually using even more, when we have adequate muscle and we have nice lean muscle mass, it naturally lowers our blood sugar. Okay. We don't require, our body isn't required to produce as much insulin to fix that glucose problem. And why is that important? Because insulin is pro-inflammatory and pro-fat storage, and that fat gets stored around our organs, and it's known as visceral fat. So that's kind of where that belly fat comes from. So when we have muscle, we are not demanding so much insulin from our body. Our muscles will use it instead. It also protects our bones. Okay. So, when you have muscle surrounding your bones, you have more strength. It helps you prevent injuries. So, less falls. You can catch yourself quicker and faster. Burning more calories at rest. So I had somebody ask me on Facebook the other day. I was posting about this class this master class that I'm doing, and somebody said, "What can I do for my metabolism? Or do you have a supplement?" I think they were asking me, "Do you have a supplement, or what can I do to increase my metabolism?" And I'm like, "Well, that's a real tricky question because it's actually muscle. It's protein and muscle that's going to help you." Burn more calories. And I have some stats here. Let me just pull this up. Okay. So just think you're hanging out on the couch chilling all day. Okay. It's a chill day for you. If you have muscle, okay, so every pound of muscle that you have, you will burn at rest 6 to 7 calories per pound. Okay. But the fat on your body, okay, per pound will only burn 1 to 2 calories. Okay. So that's just hanging out, chilling on the couch at rest. Every pound of muscle you have burns 6 to 7 calories. Every pound of fat you have burns 1 to 2 calories. So, what that means, pound for pound, is that muscle burns 3 to 7 times more calories than fat at rest. Okay. So, so many times people will say, oh, you know, um, fat burns or fat is, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But anyway, you get the gist. You understand. So anyway, it also prevents injuries. And then it increases our energy and vitality. So when we have muscle, when we are able to go and do and live the life that we want to live instead of just sitting on the sidelines, we have increased vitality. We have increased energy. I know even for me, like I said, I have 4 grandbabies. They're 5, 3, 2, and 5 months, and the first two are boys. So boys are active, and so for me, I want to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, that I am intervening, that I don't get to experience that sarcopenia, so that I can jump on the trampoline, I can run, I can chase after them. And so that's a big why for me to be intervening in my health. So weight loss without protein equals fat loss and muscle loss. Typically, regular diets, these fad diets where you're really decreasing your calories, you're really cutting back on your nutrition, you could lose 10 pounds, right? But typically they say 4 to 6 of those pounds ends up coming from muscle. Okay. This is also a big problem for someone that may be using like a GLP-1. Again, no shame in that. We're all on different parts of our journey, but I think that muscle loss that really happens is very detrimental to us if you're not intervening and being very intentional about increasing that protein. So remember, like I said back on the other slide, even at rest, if you have less muscle, you've already decreased your metabolism. So we want fat loss with muscle gain or at least preservation. And that's where protein comes in and plays a big role. So, what are you going to do next, right? I have 3 action steps for you to take. You're going to aim for that 30 grams of protein at each meal. Okay. So, I typically see that breakfast is the most commonly underdone or underate meal for people. One, they're probably hit the ground running, especially if you're like a busy mom or a busy career person. You're stressed the moment you get up, which already takes away our appetite. That stress can do that. So we have to be very intentional about, making that first meal of the day, especially, really nice, heavy protein rich. So that would look like 4 eggs and a half a cup of cottage cheese. It would also look like maybe some Life Shake protein, some almond butter, some chia seeds. I personally would probably throw a little bit of spinach or kale in there and maybe a few blueberries. But again, I have this Life Shake highlighted because I want to come back to it. On the next slide, I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. But that would, like I said, look like some eggs and cottage cheese, or some kind of a protein shake. So again, I'm just giving you a breakfast idea, but again, you would want to hit that 30 grams of protein at each meal. Number 2, let's not just guess what we are getting. Let's actually track and plan. So through Shackley, we do have a free tracker. So make sure that you're utilizing that. But you can track or plan your protein to at least get 90, because again, 33 meals a day, 90 to 100 grams a day for most women. And it can be more depending on your goals and activity level. But again, if we just want to look for a place to start, we want to get about 90. And again, it's a period of time where you're educating yourself. You're looking at, I've tracked off and on for quite a while. So I know that an egg is around 6 grams. I easily know that because I educated myself. It's just like when I have a budget, right? And I have to budget for, different things to come in. Same type of thing with my protein. I'm budgeting that protein, 30 grams at least 3 times a day. Okay, the second or the number 3 here would be pair your protein with some kind of strength training. And that can even be body weight, okay? So what do I mean by body weight? That means I'm doing some push-ups. I'm doing squats. I'm not using anything external but my own body weight to build that strength. Because studies show that as little as 2 times per week, you can actually have improvement in your muscle strength. So remember I talked about, I want to highlight the Life Shake by Shackley. And again, the reason why is it's very unique in its formulation. And as a cancer survivor, as a registered nurse, as a health coach, I really, the quality, not all protein is equal. And so this has 20 grams of high quality protein, but it's precisely formulated with the leucine. So even though it's 20 grams, it's formulated with the amount of leucine needed to trigger that protein synthesis. It has 0 sugar in it, okay? So naturally sweetened with Reb M and a monk fruit, 0 seed oils. So again, this makes it an anti-inflammatory shake. 6 grams of fiber. Okay, women as we age, again, tend to eat less, or I see a lot of women doing low carb, which really robs us of some really good beneficial fiber, which helps control our blood sugar. It helps keep us regular, feeds our gut microbiome. And so I love this protein because of the 6 grams of fiber in it. So that's an easy, I know right away off the bat in the morning, I'm getting 6 grams of fiber, and I usually add a little chia seeds for, even a few more. But another thing that's great is 25 minerals and vitamins are packed into this shake, also some omegas and digestive enzymes. So you're really getting a big bang for your buck here with that. Now, the other thing, because I'm kind of like the nursey, nerdy, geeky, like the sciencey kind of stuff behind it, I absolutely love this study that they did with Shackley's Life Shake. Okay, so in 2019, Harvard Medical School and Dr. Westcott did a clinical study. And what they did was they took participants, they gave them a couple Life Shakes, servings of Life Shake a day, and then twice a week, they did a 40-minute strength workout, right? And they did this for 6 months. This blows my mind, okay? Because remember, when I talked about most diets that you do, you lose anywhere from 40 to 60% of your muscle when you're losing weight. All of the weight loss in these participants from fat, zero muscle loss. So, and actually, in some of them, their lean muscle mass was increased. That's mind blowing to me. And then they said, okay, let's not just stop there because everybody was probably like excited to be in the study. Let's follow up with them 6 months later, okay, when they're on maintenance. Some of those or those participants across the board continued to have fat loss and muscle gain and maintain their weight. So I I don't know. I think it kind of speaks for itself, that study. Um, and so highly would recommend this as I always love and teach my clients to use whole foods for their nutrition. Trying to get as much of their nutrition, protein goals, etc., from whole foods. But I love a good protein shake, whether I'm using that Life Shake for a smoothie, even just a shake after a workout, or a yogurt bowl, chia seed pudding. There's lots of options to utilize that protein to make sure that you're getting all this good nutrition and protein. Okay, so you've learned a lot today, right? Or hopefully you have. And the thing with information is it does us no good. Education and information does us no good unless we actually put it into action. If we execute what we've learned, okay? So we here have a 7-day protein challenge that you can participate in, okay? In this challenge, these are some groups going to be led by the person that invited you to this webinar. You're going to learn how to build a balanced plate, high protein meals, discover the best nutrient dense protein sources, get some food combo tips, how to reach your protein and leucine goals, some meal IDs, deals, simple recipes, support, accountability. We're going to be there to celebrate your wins with you. I think celebrating your wins is super important. And again, community. You're doing this with other like-minded individuals with the same goal, right? So it's really important, again, to take the information that I've given you, to put it into action, and to do that with other people so you don't feel like you're on this journey alone. So definitely recommend that you would get with the person that invited you to this presentation and see how you can participate in their 7-day challenge. Or some leaders are actually doing some couples things that might even last as long as 30 days. So definitely get back with that person. And thank you for coming today. And Charlene, is there anything else that you had?
No, I don't. Thank you so much for this. I think it was really helpful. I started thinking about friends as I was listening to you talk about and conversations that I've had, especially some of my friends that are on some of these GLP-1 products. And
Mhm.
I'm so grateful that you didn't throw any shade on any of them.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
am concerned about muscle loss.
Yeah.
So if you have friends like that or others, just like this 7-day challenge that we're going to be starting, don't keep this to yourself. There's other people who might want to also join because
Mhm.
after you heard some of these facts, I know for myself, I'm not getting enough protein.
Mhm.
So just having an app that helps me learn how to track that will be so important. And so because the app is free and so is the challenge, I'd say, what are you waiting for? So we're looking forward to having you with us and participating and learning more and more about how to live ageless longer.